happening, folks? Pro Wrestle Times podcast, PWT podcast, back with another one. I am your host, Phil Marks. Yeah. And this is the top pod, and we are definitely in. Let's start right off by thanking the patrons. Reggie Rodriguez, Mark U. DeMarc, Ashley V, Russ Paxson, Chris Killis, Cruz Madrid, Desiree Guccia. So many people, and also a YouTube member, Jason Coward. Thank you so much. You all get a big yeah. And I haven't been, I stopped doing the YouTube member thing because no one was joining it, and now we have a YouTube member, so I'm gonna have to completely forgot about it. So you're gonna start getting early uploads and stuff there, Jason Coward. So shout you out, and shout out everybody here listening. I'm so happy we're all together here. I'm trying to get eps out on Mondays, but Tuesdays is kind of how we did it for so long. What is this, episode 45 or 46 or 44 or something like that? And I had like a late Christmas, which sounds crazy, but it's the middle of the month, and there's people in the family who live all over the world, and some people can't get into town until we actually had to postpone it a week and stuff because shit's weird. But we just had like another Christmas this weekend, so it was pretty awesome. Got to see a lot of people. I completely forgot about it too until last minute, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm eating a lot of food and drinking a lot of beer this weekend. Yeah, give me a what I don't know what it is. But yeah, shout you guys out. Patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes, or you can become a member on the Clips channel at Pro Wrestle Clips on YouTube, or at Pro Wrestle Times on YouTube as well, and everywhere else on social media. The patron, there's hours of extra stuff. You get early access, you get downloads. You guys know the deal, I'm sure. If you want to just support for free, hit that like and subscribe, or leave a star, leave a comment, whatever you got to do. Let's get into the show, folks. Let's get into things. Round of applause for you guys. And another week in pro wrestling. There's a couple things. Oh, this episode, I don't know what there's even to talk about. And then boom, you look in the notes and the bookmarks, and you're like, oh shit, there's a whole bunch we got to talk about. So as per usual, let's just kick things off. I wanted to start the show off by talking about Jim Cornette. There was a clip of some letter he got. I just found it very intriguing. People say the TV ratings in AEW don't matter. TV ratings are antiquated, but then they tout big TV ratings and the key demo whenever it happens, right? So, okay, let's not play that. Let's go with ticket attendance. Oh, those ticket sales don't matter. Like, it's always just some sort of excuse. But Jim Cornette reads an email about AEW's attendance figures against building capacity. So I just wanted to play this, react to it with you guys. I might not play the whole thing. And shout out Jim Cornette and official Jim Cornette on YouTube, the Jim Cornette Experience. Yeah, this is...
Dear Jim and Brian, see, the listeners are including you constantly. With only 2 shows left in 2023, I've been looking into how Dynamite and Collision have fared, filling the arenas Tony hires to host his TV. And if the word hires didn't give you a clue, this is from Chris in Leeds, Yorkshire. They say hire instead of rent over there in that application. So basically, he's
Jim,
compiled these numbers. How close to the venue capacity every Dynamite and Collision came in 2023? Would you like to hear this?
So basically, I'm playing you guys this. He's gonna read these figures, and I don't know. It stirred up. I mean, it didn't get Cornette trending, but this is something we talk about all the time. It's like, what can AEW? Okay, so like, this is why, I love AEW. I love pro wrestling. I love it all, dude. The thing is like, let's say that the TV ratings are antiquated. It doesn't count streaming and all this other. Okay, let's say that's true. Then what do we measure by then? How come it can't? Like, this is what I mean. It's like it wants a participation trophy or something. I just don't get it. So how do we measure it? well, what about these attendance numbers right here? This is always what I look at, even more than TV ratings as well, because people always say, oh, well, football's on or the hockey game's on or whatever. I don't fucking know. And so there's always like an excuse, right? And all I'm trying to say is, what about these the attendance doesn't lie, right? If people taste the product, it gets bigger and bigger. I don't know. Jim's going to break down these numbers, and this is what usually I go by, is this attendance, right? And so people in the comments will go, well, what about Wembley's attendance? But that's just, it's just a freak thing. Like WWE's going to Australia. They don't get WWE all the time. So they drew like a WrestleMania almost. They're going to draw like 50K, 45K or whatever. So we're talking domestic matters, because otherwise Tony Khan could just go run shows in India and fill big ass buildings filled with people and make no money. If that, you know what I mean? So it's because domestic matters, because that's where the company's based out of. Okay. So anyways, we're going to play this.
Yeah, I would.
Because there were 77 TV tapings in 2023, Dynamite or Collision, right? Of them, how many do you think drew more than 50% of the hosting arena's actual capacity?
So there was 77 tapings. How many of them drew at least half the building? Filled at least half of the building's normal capacity, okay?
Dynamite and
They're
Collision.
going to guess.
Dynamite and Collision.
Because Collision has run some smaller buildings compared to some of these Dynamites we've seen in giant ones, so we're doing an average here. Or
An
we're
average.
doing overall.
Well, no, we're doing numbers in 2020. Now you've confused the issue again.
Yeah, okay. See, yeah, Brian last fucking things up here because he just threw me off course too. So, no, that's just the bottom line. How many buildings total in 2023 filled half capacity? Doesn't matter if it was a smaller venue. Doesn't matter if it was a bigger venue.
When doing math.
Out of 70-something shows.
77 TV tapings, how many... Dynamite and Collision, how many managed to draw more than 50% of the host building's capacity?
I would have guessed like over 10 personally. Even I would have given them that, but no. Listen to this shit.
6.
2.
Oh my god, dude.
2.
And I don't know if Jim's stooges and I'm wrong, but I'm gonna put my. Not stooges, pardon me, but I don't know if Jim, I use that word too frivolously. I don't know if Jim's going to divulge what the actual cards were there that drew over, but I'm willing to bet Punk was on both of them.
The January 11th Dynamite in the Kia Forum, which was the match 7 in the Trios title Best of 7 series.
Oh, God. So that's after Punk, I think, left. Excuse me.
That the Buckaroos, when they made their 6-man belts for themselves and their friends, right? They hit 65% of the Kia Forum. And the June 26th Dynamite in where is the Wintrust Arena? I recognize the name of the arena, and I'm trying to
Chicago or something like that.
Remember where it was.
Here, we'll skim through this.
Wintrust Arena is in Chicago.
Yeah.
They had an advertised appearance by CM Punk,
and then he didn't show. Yeah, see, so Punk was supposed to show, and he didn't show. Okay, so I'm just kind of skimming through this. I don't know if he has any more numbers for us, but
and the lowest percentage of the arena hosting percentage of the lowest percentage of the arena hosting arena that they filled of the year 2023.
So if they had like a 20,000 seat building and they had like 900 people there.
Yeah. What is the lowest percentage of capacity that they filled for an arena of the year?
I don't have any way to guess.
Yeah, I have no idea.
September 13th, Dynamite in the Heritage Bank Center, John Moxley's hometown show in Cincinnati. 14% of the total real capacity of the arena. 29 of the 77 shows, 38% sold less than a quarter of the venue's capacity.
So hold on. This motherfucker's just throwing arithmetic at, no, not actually here.
Less than a quarter of the venues.
I'm a numbers guy, B.
capacity. And one final statistic, they had 2 shows in the Kia Forum. Both of them were advertised as Young Bucks hometown shows. And it went from the January 11th 65% to the November 27% in the same building.
So why do you think they went home with their tail between their legs? They know that they don't even have the fan base anymore.
Yeah, so that's one last statistic, as Jim said. So yeah, it's and I'm not going like, oh, fuck them, but like, man, do the smaller buildings or just run out of Daly's place again for a while with the crowd and just build up some momentum, like actually make some cheddar. You know, that's all we're saying, Tony. Like, that's all we want. We just, maybe you'd get a better sleep if you weren't on the road all the time, dude. Maybe, like, you know, we criticized Vince for being hands-on of all of the creative of all of these shows and ripping up scripts last minute. But ultimately, like, and I'm not saying Tony Khan's ripping up scripts last minute, but he's writing them last minute for sure. And also, yeah, it's just his hands are on too much. Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, and Ring of Honor, and the pay-per-views and everything. Like, and then he sits down and he talks with Danielson and these guys, and that's great. It's great, but you need a filter, and you need to be what you need to do, Tony. Like, I know, but I don't know. I honestly believe if you gave me $1 billion to just dump into wrestling, I could book better wrestling, more compelling shit. I truly believe that. I'm not saying I could secure buildings and do business dealings as well. There's absolutely no way, right? But I don't know, dude. I've had to work for everything I have in my life. You know, Tony was born. Not saying he hasn't worked hard, but you know, it's a different mentality. I didn't realize that, you know. I root for Tony. I really do. I'm not trying to be a hater with it. I'm really, really not. But he needs to, like, let Jeff Jarrett, which sounds crazy, but just trust me on this. Like, you need to let, maybe not Jeff Jarrett, but someone else write Collision, just write the whole show. And then you, Tony, just come in and go, oh, it's great. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is good. And just like dude, that's how the best art is made. And I'm not saying you're not collabing at all, because you are letting wrestlers do whatever the fuck they want. But it's like, someone's gotta just explain, well, here, we have stats here. So let me pull up some stats. So someone's got to explain to him that, you know, like, matches are awesome, dude. But that's why. So listen, AEW's pay-per-views are awesome. There's usually great matches, you know. Production sometimes can be hit or miss, but, you know, it's usually like hot crowds and, you know, good stuff. And there's usually like a moment in there, here or there, hidden. Even their pay-per-views lack moments, though, we got to be honest. And the matchups are great. And Tony's got to understand, and I have these stats here, okay? I'm gonna bring up some numbers of my own. You know, he's got to understand that the great matches, if you have them at the pay-per-views, like the concept of, oh, these matches are so great, is entirely diminished because you have great matches on every fucking show. Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. It's always, and I know people will go, what? Great matches? It's botch fest. And we're going to talk about Dynamite, but that's what every show is. There's always like one really good match that, like, okay, if you featured this match, or if the whole show was mostly getting people over, story stuff, shorter matches, and then you had this one crazy banger match, like every match in AEW goes too long, doesn't get people over. Tony's got 4 storylines. There's, after every women's match, I'm gonna document this. I need one of you PWT. I can't do it. I need one of the beautiful listeners out there, okay, to do your research on AEWs and figure out how many times they debut a woman, or a woman returns, or an angle is with a woman where it's just a walkout or a run out. Like Athena debuted by walking out after some girls wrestled. Paige came out after some girls wrestled. I think maybe Tony announced that one, but she like came out and ran some girls off. Thunder Rosa returned by running in to save Abaddon. Riho ran in to save. That was how she returned to save whatever. Then the same week she did her run in again to run off Mariah May and Toni Storm. You know what I mean? Everybody debuts by running in. Every woman, it's just run in. And then Tony goes Battle Royal, Eliminator, title Eliminator, Tournament, Battle Royal, title Eliminator. It's the same. Oh, a friend betrays. Let's make a group, and then they'll turn their backs on each other. Let's make a group, and then they're gonna fight. Let's put the Acclaimed with the Bullet Club Gold. Why? Why the fuck are you doing that? So this guy here at Wrestling Mark 16 sounds like someone I'd be friendly with. Just kidding. But he put out a tweet. Amount of actual wrestling on wrestling shows this week. AEW Rampage had 38 minutes of pro wrestling during the hour block. So it's more like with ads. I guess they go picture in picture. So we'll say it's the full hour. So 63% of the show was wrestling. AEW Collision had 67 minutes of wrestling on the TV, 56%. AEW Dynamite had 61 minutes of wrestling, 51%. WWE Raw had 60 minutes of wrestling, 33%, in the 3 hours, though. And WWE SmackDown had 29 minutes of wrestling, 24% of the runtime. And this guy goes 166 mins in 5 hours of AEW TV, 89 mins in 5 hours of WWE TV. And he thinks, and this guy's like, prove the point. And guys, the attendance is way down. WWE's is way up, the complete opposite. It's up everywhere they go. So obviously, I just quote tweeted this and went, and one company's in a white hot boom period and the other isn't. Imagine that. And it's not like, I'm not trying to be shitty, but it's just, imagine that. That's all we've been saying. What's the best AEW match of all time? When you really think about the whole time, it's probably Cody and Dustin. Why? Well, because they told a story via social media, and the beginning of like All In. Oh, it was All In even AEW. People go, that wasn't AEW technically. No, that was AEW. I don't give a fuck. They're like, well, they actually teamed with Ring of Honor and it was Bullet Club and they did. Don't care. Don't care. All those guys went and made, that's like a band. Fucking, they added a member, Tony Khan, and then made a new band. And then with a new name, and then, but it's not the same. But yeah, it's all the elite though. Put that show on. So to me, All In, whatever, that counts. I don't remember if the Cody match, I think it was in AEW actually, technically, but the Cody Dustin match. But that match is probably the greatest AEW match of all time. Why? Because they told a fucking story. So like, I don't know what's not connecting with these people after 5 years. Like, I don't know what's connecting with them. Like, look, there's the more wrestling time. Like, so you, like, people, it's just like arguing into the mythos. It's like having opinions on like war and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to get political, but it's like, dude, I don't even understand like this conflict going on personally, dude. I don't even, because it's like, either way, these people are going to war and doing crazy shit. I can argue all day about who's right and wrong in a fucking war, dude. It doesn't stop any. Now I'm not saying, well, you can't do anything, but okay, you strap up and go yell, preach your shit while with boots on the ground. Then, like, I don't know what to tell you, and that's the same thing with this. It's like, dude, like all you're doing is proving WWE's case for WWE. Maybe that the war analogy is not the best analogy, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's basically old man shaking fist at cloud, but this is probably some millennial Gen Z, my age or younger person, right? Probably younger than me, I'd guess, So the whole point is that 166 minutes in 5 hours of AEW TV, trending downwards, is not holding up. They're not growing attendance. They're not making superstars. The television ratings aren't up. So what do we measure it by, guys? Like, I'm trying to be lenient here. I'm not snapping. Phil's not snapping this week. I'm just saying, like, so where do we measure it? Oh, look, the wrestling minutes in the show. And my argument's always been, okay, here's the curve. This is where I'm going to approach this peacefully and optimistically with you folk and explain it. Yes, so here's the curve, right? You guys this is your last straw now. You're like, oh, but there's more wrestling minutes in the... Okay, great. And I love wrestling more than anyone when it matters, when it means something. So just here's the lesson. If they told the stories, then had the great matches, it would do better. Like, that's all. You're just proving the point that I've been saying, that everyone's trying to say about WWE. Now, I'm not gonna go off, but boom, should I drop an explosion? Like, I'll just a round of applause for the PWT listeners, man, just for being right again. We understand. And even if you've been disagreeing up until this point, just look at what we've laid out. Like, Jim just laid out all those numbers about attendance. The TV rating is just a non-fucking debate, right? Like, it's just a non-debate. Like, that's been done for years now, like a year now at least. And then, pardon me. And so if we're going to go, well, wrestling minutes, okay, but the wrestling minutes are equaling. So then either the wrestling shittier, or it should be less minute. Like, don't you guys get it now? This is what we're saying. This is what we've been trying to say, right? It's like every match has a bunch of false finish. You can't have that. You got, and every match, and also you can't just have the extreme. With Tony, it's always the extreme. It's in AEW. It's always a squash or a long Broadway fucking 15-minute Edge getting taken to the limit by Dante Martin. That happened this week on Collision, guys. I watched it. Pretty good match, not gonna lie, but Edge should not be being taken to the fucking limit by this guy. Like, period, man. This guy should, like, is he in a tag team or not? Establish your fucking divisions, Tony Khan. I thought Top Flight came back, and I also thought he's in a trios with Andretti. So is he a single, a trio? Is he answering open challenges? What the fuck is going on, man? Tony Khan has the Bang Bang Gang, the Bullet Club Gold. They just won the ROH, so they got Jay White's in ROH. So, well, he's on, but you guys know how it is, but he's on Rampage and shit too. So he's the 6-man tag champs with the Guns. And then they just, one of their worst enemies, worst rivals. And then here's the opportunity for them to go, yeah, well, let's fuse these belts like Marks at the pay-per-view. Like, do something. No, man, they teamed them up. So now the Acclaimed, who are the trios champs, like, why would they want to form a group with anybody? They are the group. Like, why would they do that? Like, they formed a group with Bullet Club Gold. And now the 6-man champs and the 6-man champs from both promotions are in a big team together. Why, dude? Like, you guys hate each other. Like, establish your trios division. What the fuck is going on? Oh no, we'll just turn the trios into a 6-man. It'll be great. We'll have a 12-man tag next week. Not even Survivor Series. Haha. And it's just, that's the problem. That's the problem. And so we had another gentleman here who truly one of the worst, I hate, just some people might say it about me, but one of the worst follows, like, I had to unfollow, right, is at M. Sidgwick. Not take, whatever, good guy, I'm sure, IRLs, but I don't know, man. Some people just don't, they look at wrestling as, like, it is more ballet. It's more Broadway than sport. And in a lot of ways it is more pageantry than actual competitiveness. But at the same, I think WWE's is more the other way, dude. Like, you have that moment with Cody and Brock where, like, Brock, like, unplanned grabs Cody and puts his arm up, and you see it in Cody, like, he doesn't know if Brock's gonna beat the shit out of him right there or not. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It feels very like, if you watch the UFC over the weekend, you got Sean Strickland and Duplessis, and they're talking about they want to kill each other, and then dudes, raising the other dude's arm and this and that. That's, I don't know. It's very sportsy. Now there is that same thing in AEW, but at the same token, it's between like Edge and Dante Martin. So it's not as, but anyways, M. Sidgwick he tweets out, AEW is listening to those who criticize them in good faith in a bid to improve the product and hold itself to a high standard. 2024 is very promising so far. Vindication. All because Tony Khan brought the ranking system back after the whole Hook 28-1 Jinder Mahal debacle. So this guy tweets this out because Tony Khan goes, I'm bringing back the rankings. AEW is listening to those who criticize them in good faith in a bid to improve the product and hold itself to a high standard. 2024 is very promising so far. Vindication. Dude, what the fuck? And I quote tweeted this and said, yo, this is an entirely false statement. Listening to good faith criticism would be running smaller buildings, TK being less hands-on creatively, and pushing the wrestlers we like, not bringing back a ranking system that means nothing in pro wrestling and that they scrapped once already. Right? Am I wrong there? Am I wrong there, dude?
Dummy, yeah.
So now vindication. So now Hook, because he beat 20 jobbers, gets a title shot because the ranking system. But then what happens when Okada signs there, if he does, which we'll talk about more in a bit. Okada signs there. He's 0-3 in AEW right now, guys. He lost to Danielson in a match that fell flat as shit. They stuck it at the end of a overly long pay-per-view. And they had a brilliantly technical match that just fell flat as shit because the finish was just, go rewatch it. It just, the crowd was like, okay. And then they just started applauding, And then he lost to Orange Cassidy, I believe, in like a 8-man tag. And then I think he lost to Orange Cassidy again in a fatal 4-way match, if I'm not mistaken. So Okada, you really think he's going to AEW? But if he does, he's a top guy. Is he? Or does he have to win 10 matches to get a title shot? If you actually stick to it and implement it, okay, great. It's great. But they're not going to. Tony already scrapped it because that's just another thing he's got to try and book and fit into this. And then the fans are going to go, but what about that? And then they're going to eat his ass alive. That's why he quit doing it, because his own fans were like, shouldn't this guy get a title shot? And then you have to book based off of everything the fans suggest. Now, one of the things I said in my criticism of Sidgwick was pushing the wrestlers we like. Now, some people might take that as like, but not everyone gets it. They can't push everyone. And that's, I fully wholeheartedly agree with that. Right. And the problem though, that WWE had okay, they're pushing LA Knight. No, like they've pushed him to main event status. Right. All of these guys, Seth Rollins was one of those guys for a while. Obviously, they've seen a lot in him, but it's just that WWE and even TNA, right? They will push guys that sometimes you're like, you don't 100% agree with, but it is for the betterment of the business. WCW did the same thing. I'm sure ECW, I'm sure Paul Heyman would tell you he's done the same thing, right? I agree. Don't just push everyone the fans say. That's Mark shit and that'll fuck you up. But there was a time there where WWE was super ass because they were not pushing anyone wanted them to. It was like they were purposefully shitting on people. And that's how AEW feels, guys. So that's what we mean. It's like okay, they're pushing Joe. Thank fuck. Right? But yeah, it's just imagine if Wardlow or Roosh or Jay White, imagine if Jay White came in, won that international belt, and went on a Gunther run with the title, right? He's a guy that if you give him the ball, he'll run. I know people are like, Jay White, who gives a fuck? Miro then. Put Miro in there. Let him have Orange Cassidy's run. Do you guys get it? Because Miro, as long as he has Lana or a mouthpiece or whatever, because his promos are weird and shit. He could carry that division. A guy like Roosh, I'm telling you, there's these guys. Jay White is so great all around in the business. He's great on the stick. He's great at selling. Great moveset. He can wrestle anyone. Short matches, whatever. Psychology, he has it all. Okay? He should be your international champion. I've said it a billion times on the show. On a run like Orange Cassidy. And then you elevate that title. You elevate your product. You elevate the show. He has crazy matches with international challengers. It's not just like Moxley and Cassidy. They're fucking both American, fighting over your international belt. So it's not about pushing all the wrestlers we like, but like, okay, when Swerve is this hot, dude, like honestly, he is like, oh, the ratings don't reflect that. Okay, but fans are clamoring. He's got it. He's got something where he could be the guy. Don't 50-50 book him in a fucking tournament. Don't have him god damn, it's just so like it's not pushing Swerve. They're not pushing Swerve, dude. Swerve is getting over on his fucking own in these situations. Like they put him in big match with Adam Page. Now he's gonna eventually fight Joe. That's great, but do you really think Joe's gonna lose the belt already to Swerve? I really fucking doubt it, unless their idea is like, okay, get Joe off the belt and them so he can do shit with Cole and then because the belt means more on Swerve and shit. Like maybe, but I doubt they're even thinking that way. So I just feel like this is just my last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to put a bow on it. Tony Khan doesn't care about the fans. So that Sidgwick gentleman, and shout him out, whatever, M. Sidgwick. But he said, vindicated Tony listening to the good faith fans. No, he's not. If Tony wanted good faith, if Tony cared about the fans and not just him being able to say he competes with WWE, he would not be booking these big arenas and filling them as low as Cornette says. He would be, so all of his fans say the ratings don't matter, then he touts the key demographic. It wouldn't be any of that, man. It wouldn't be booking these long ass matches and just random matchmaking. He would be focused if he really cared about the fans. If he really cared about them, he would invest in the talent and in their attention spans and in their investment. He would invest in the fans' investment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like he would invest in making sure everyone's invested in what they're doing. He's not investing in that. He's just investing in like, okay, people love crazy indie matches, so let's have crazy indie matches. Okay, but dude, that's why there's the indies. That's why that's why PWG never just exploded and then started competing with WWE. That's why, because it's indie, bro. Like, if you don't understand that, I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to understand that. So I just don't think it's for the fans. It's not, bro. It's him reading Cage Match. And Cage Match, by the way, they revamped their whole rating system, like how they do their or whatever. They're like, if you use certain keywords, because just all the bots are in there, bad faith reviewing shit, and just troll review bombing. What's the words they use? What's that shit Marvel makes up about their movies? No, I'm just joking. But for real, I was watching Captain America with my girl. The Marvels is what I was what Captain America, the Captain Marvel's in it. And Captain Marvel was her favorite MCU movie. We watched it all. The show, Shield, fucking Daredevil, like we looked it up. We watched The Runaways, Cloak and Dagger. We watched the X-Men universe, all the Spider-Mans. Like we watched every Marvel, every fucking thing up till date. And then during the fucking pandemic, we did all that, right? When everyone's locked down. We just binged all the Marvel everything and watched it in order. Like we watched the MCU, everything. We caught up. I wrote notes on it too. I'm a psychopath. So when we caught up, Loki came out and we've just been keeping up ever since. Like the first season of Loki, right? And now, Loki season 2 was pretty good. And then we watched the Marvels, and Captain Marvel was my girl's favorite Marvel movie from the entire MCU. We got 15 minutes into The Marvels, the sequel, and she's begging me to shut the shit off. And she didn't mind the Miss Marvel show. She thought the Miss Marvel show was pretty good too. And she was begging me to shut it off. She was like, "This is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen in my life." And dude, usually that's me who's like, I will walk out of this theater right now. Like, I've been that offended by movies before, where I was like, I'm gonna walk out of this motherfucker. She doesn't. She'll never do that, but she begged me to shut off the Marvels, and I made her power through it because it was you had to watch it, right? This invested into it. It's like WWE, man. They fed me a spoonful of shit for a lot of years, but I toughed it through, and now I'm happy I did because I'm witnessing this crazy era the last 3 years, and especially the last like 2 years, but the last like since the pandemic, really like this era started because they came out so hot out of the pandemic, whereas AEW came out so not as hot out of the pandemic. That's really so telling too. Like WWE came out hot out of the pandemic. They were forced to step up during all that shit in those empty buildings. Like that era was ass, you know, and they were forced to rise up, and then they came out of it swinging. AEW, they had like 2 weeks in, they had Matt Hardy teleporting and doing all this shit. Everybody's going, what the fuck? What happened? We were about to have blood and guts. This was the best promotion. You know, I truly believe that if AEW had aired that blood and guts when the pandemic closed everything down, their blood and guts show was about to be on TV. I truly believe they would have touched like a Raw number then, and it would have been really on. I really thought that was the tipping point right there. And when the pandemic closed it down, and then once they started like immediately in the pandemic era at dailies, AEW just started doing fucking, Matt Hardy's teleporting and shit like immediately. It was like, oh my God, like what the fuck happened to this? And not that I'm against all that, but Matt Hardy right now and the Hardys have all this, have all these problems. Seemingly, people are saying this Reby Hardy shit's a work. I don't know about all that, guys. This is my only argument to why that's not a work. Not to get off topic, but they're bringing up CTE. Their kids are involved. She's making herself look kind of unfavorable. I just don't think that's a work. But anyways, they should just let the Hardys go off on their compound and do teleporting shit and everything. But I think that stuff really brought some of the goddamn show down, man. As far as AEW's trajectory and where they were going. Speaking a little bit ago, I brought up Okada was leaving AEW, or pardon me, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he might be joining AEW. I think he's going to join WWE. Personally, I don't see why he would leave New Japan and go to AEW and make such a big stink about, oh, I'm coming to America, when he's already wrestled in AEW. We talked about it. They jobbed him out to Orange Cassidy. They I think 2 times, or his team lost, or he was on the losing end of the 4-way, whatever. He's losing matches that Orange Cassidy is fucking Okada. WWE won't do that. People are like, nah, I'm worried about how they're going to, oh, you mean like how they're booking Shinsuke? You mean like how they're booking Damage Control? And then they go, oh, Akira Tozawa. It's like, no, dude, Akira's been a goober for like 3 years now, ongoing, maybe even longer. Like his character's been like, his Cruiserweight Classic era. He's like one of the best in the world, dude. Like he was why I was putting Cruiserweight Classic on. He was over as fuck, throwing his body around, having great, tremendous matches. He still has great matches, but now it's like he's like a kind of a goofy guy. That's like the gimmick now. So you can't point to that one. Damage Control. And they're still saying like, oh, WWE doesn't like guys if they can't speak English. Look at Damage Control. Look at Dragon Lee. Look at they're letting him cut promos on NXT. And look at Shinsuke. So I vehemently disagree. Shinsuke and Okada are boys. I thought Okada was going to stay behind and help Tanahashi with NJPW now that he's the president. But no, I guess he's like, no, I'm going to America. And I think he's going to TNA a couple more times, I think he's doing like 1 or 2 shots there and I don't think he'll sign there, but I think he's doing that because when his first run there was just bullshit, so now he can really do it, like, do a couple matches there properly, because he has obviously respect for that place, and everybody does now. TNA's lit right now. But my prediction is Okada at WrestleMania 40 against Gunther. That's my prediction, man, for the Intercontinental title. Why not just have him come out there? Because think about it. The storyline could be Gunther, yeah, like I've beaten everyone. Here's my open challenge for the Intercontinental title. Like there's no one on this roster I haven't studied, right? Gunther can be cutting this promo. Like I've studied everyone. There's no point. Like anyone could come out here, and I've wrestled them and beat them before, or I've read them like a book. Like da 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 da. And then Okada could come out, shock beat him, and just end his run with the IC, and then you have an Intercontinental champion who's an international. That's what they've done with this title as well. They've reestablished it as like this an intercontinental title. So you have a guy come in from another continent, Japan. He's a big star there. Then this is how you get him over. He shock beats Gunther, and then Gunther can have a rematch and they can really go to war. And it doesn't hurt Gunther because he's been so fucking dominant, and Okada's like the guy. And the mainstream doesn't know him that great, but this is how you get him over to them, and WWE does a good job of explaining, and then the smarky smarks will know, and then ESPN and all of them will write headlines. Holy shit, Okada's in WWE now, and then Michael Cole, for those of you who don't know, Kazuchika Okada is a blah. Boom. And then and Shinsuke keeps saying in promos, oh, I have chaos to you, or I'll bring chaos to you, da 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 da. And we talked about it before. Here's the difference, right? So in AEW, right? In AEW, the wrestling is taking up 63% of the show. Okay, guess what's going on? Guess what's going on in that 39% of wrestling that WWE had or whatever, right? Michael Cole and all the shit is getting stuff over about the fucking wrestlers. So guess what, guys? On that Raw, they would take the time, they'd do their diligence, and they'd help get Okada over and how he beat. And then Gunther comes out and he cuts a furious promo, and Okada comes out, and then they all brawl and blah, 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 blah. Then at the next pay-per-view, you get the rematch, right? Where Gunther's had time to study and and maybe he wins, maybe he loses. I don't know. But Gunther can go, whatever, like my aspirations are for the Universal title, whatever. But Okada, man, that's how you get him over. It's a prestigious belt. He's a prestigious wrestler. It's not like they're just going to shit in his mouth, right? Triple H respects Shinsuke. He respects Okada, I promise you. So I say go to WWE, man. Fuck, go get a big paycheck for sure. Or just go to WWE and prove you're the fucking man that we know you are, for real. I think I have a clip. Hopefully I have it bookmarked here. So I want to talk about this. So Grayson Waller and LA Knight. Maybe I'll tuck the video if I clip this. I'm not sure, but we can still listen to the audio because it's just fucking hilarious. So Grayson Waller and LA Knight were in Australia, and they're doing promo for obviously the Perth show, the Elimination Chamber that's coming up there. And they're on Sunrise, like the Today Show or the morning show is basically what they're on in Australia. And I don't know, man, we get a Vader Undertaker moment where this host starts like trying to square up with Grayson Waller, and Waller's like, listen, I'm not gonna come give you a fake wrestling move. He's like, I'll punch you right in the fucking face. Just listen to this.
One of his signature finishing moves.
Can I give you one?
Yeah, can you, not me.
I'll just be over here.
But can you show us one of your moves?
No, I think it actually just showed on the screen there. If I do that, it's not going to be a good day for anybody.
Maybe someone in our floor manager, maybe he seems
well,
available.
actually, our floor manager's leaving this week.
Yeah.
And
see, and LA Knight knows because he's like, dude, what am I going to, like Hulk Hogan with the Richard Belzer thing, dude? Like, you don't ever want that scenario to happen, right? Especially if you're a wrestler. But these guys are, I love this because Waller fucking protect the business here, right? So
and he's sort of, I don't know if
that's not for me. You want to go ahead and take this?
So there's some guy, they're like, it's his last day here, and he looks like he works out, and he's like a camera guy, and he gets on camera and he's got a thumbs up, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna, and he's like jogging like, I'm gonna fight.
Uh-oh.
I don't think you understand. Like, if I come over there right now, we're going to have the police here because I'm not going to give you some fake punch. Like, I'm going to punch you straight in the jaw. The disrespect that you have even talking to me. No, you want to talk to me like this ain't real? Don't act all tough, lad. Don't act all tough. Like,
Get in the middle of this. You keep back.
And then the guy was, I think the guy realized too and was retreating. I don't know if he's trying to be an ass, but Waller's like, no, I will punch you in the face. And it looks shoot because you can see the look on LA Knight's face, and he's kind of like, you can see LA's like he's like playing with his hand in a way, you know, like if you watch his hand, it's like he's like kind of twiddling his fingers in a way where you can tell he's like, well, yeah, do I jump in? Grayson, don't hit this guy. You know what I mean?
Don't act all tough.
Get in the middle of this. You keep back. Get him out of there. You get out of there. I'm so sorry. No, don't know too much.
You guys come here trying to disrespect us. Are you kidding me?
I'm not disrespecting you.
You're all right, mate. No, we love you.
Hey, you take that trash talk and you get out.
So yeah, LA Knight was staying chill, and Grayson Waller was like gonna punch this guy out more or less. I don't know. Shout out to LA Knight for being chill, but also shout out to Waller for, I guess, protecting the business and just being willing to like. It was just funny how he's like, I'm not gonna give you some wrestling move. He's like, I'm just gonna punch you in the mouth for real or whatever. I thought that was hilarious. So give a fucking dummy yeah to those
Dummy, yeah.
Australian hosts. In other news, hot news, Dark Side of the Ring is coming back. The episodes planned for Dark Side of the Ring season 5. I fucking love Dark Side of the Ring. You guys know. It's like one of the only good TV shows worth watching anymore. An episode's going to be done on Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Hold on.
What?
Harley Race.
What?
Kurt Angle, probably the Perk Angle era.
What?
Chris Adams.
What?
The Sandman, which
what?
Should be funny. Buff Bagwell, rightfully so, but he's kind of turned it around.
What?
And Black Saturday.
What?
That should be cool, right? I can't wait. We'll probably never get a proper one on Vince. I think there's like some Netflix show coming out about Vince McMahon or something where they're going to dive into his life. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. I think the Black Saturday one they're saving for last, that'll be the most compelling, you know? Because some of those, it's like Buff Bagwell. It's like, all right, he already, like, he's kind of turned his life around. But sometimes you need those two in Dark Side, right? Like, it's not about, oh, they have to be dead and or murdered their family or something. It's some of them just have to be like, well, no, they went to the dark side and turned it around. Daddy. Speaking of stats, we talked about stats earlier, and I forgot to read these ones. Oh yeah, so we talked about Jim Cornette. So Brian Last dropped some. Let me see this. A listener. So at the Great Brian Last, or at Great Brian Last, pardon me. A listener who worked the AEW Collision taping yesterday sent this along. Banned signs listed at the bottom. I was told CM Punk signs were also confiscated. It looks pretty legit at the top of it. I mean, there's names there, Matt Drexler and Brett Shaw. Expected attendance 2,700. Chartway Arena. What's going on? Like, it looks like a pretty legit call sheet. Sorry, I'm just kind of gazing over it. So reserve seating, all this stuff. But at the end, so it basically says like sign policy. So it says signs are permitted. No profanity, graphic images, oversized derogatory signs, no blank signs, no sticks or poles, no signs mentioning Kylie Ray, Chris Jericho in a negative light. What the fuck? Fuck Chris Jericho. Like, Chris Jericho sucks. Nope, can't do that. What? Or Chris Jericho and Kylie Ray. Now, you would think they would add NDA on there. And also they misspelt Chris Jericho on here. They spelt it Chris Jericho. It's CHO. So I don't know how legit this sheet is, Brian Last. And I don't know if he's addressed this. I would have to catch up on my corny. I don't know if he's addressed this or not, but they misspelt his name. But as you guys know, if you listen to PWT, yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
I've read the review off of their, the results of the show. I read off of their website, AEW's, and they've made horrible mistakes calling like Kyle Fletcher, Kyle Fletch, and things like that. They've had typos like that throughout it that I've pointed out. It's nothing, like, I don't blame it. When you have a fucking website, like, people make typos, right? Obviously, spell check that shit. I am a writer. You got to spell check that shit, guys, obviously. It drives me nuts personally, but it's really not that big of a deal. And if some guy wrote that sheet up, like, if that's for staff, AEW staff, or building staff, because if it's building staff, like, I don't know, the guy types that up to hand to security. He doesn't know who the fuck, if it's Jericho with a fucking CH or a C. So could be real. I just don't think Brian Last would just like post lie shit purposefully like that, you know? But definitely you got to second guess it if it is misspelling Jericho, who's like one of the biggest guys in the company. Speaking of biggest guys in the company, Roman Reigns has surpassed Bruno Sammartino's second WWE title reign and now has the fourth longest. So I think 1,000,000% they wanted to at least do this. So I said it a long, long time ago on the pod. Bruno Sammartino he's in the top 5 twice. He still is. But Bruno Sammartino was in the top 4 twice up until now. So Bruno has the record, number 1 all-time reign, 2,803 days. Hulk Hogan's reign is 1,474 days. And then Bob Backlund's reign is in third place at 1,470 days. So Hogan beat Backlund by 4 days. Roman is now in fourth place, which used to be Bruno Sammartino's slot again. He had another like 1,225 day reign or whatever. But now Roman Reigns is in there at 1,238 days and counting, number 4. So I think they might take the strap off him now. You got to do the math and look at the calendar. I haven't done that, PWT. Somebody look at the calendar. One of you guys should do it, or can do it if you could, for me. I would appreciate that so much. And look to see, because Bob Backlund's number 3 spot is 1,470, and then Hulk Hogan's 1,474. I could see them letting Roman beat Backlund and then dropping before Hogan. You know, like is there a show where Roman would drop it at 1,472 days or something? Because that would be crazy. I'd pop for that too. But I have a feeling they might have him beat, especially with The Rock being back. I think they're going to beat Hogan's record. I think that's going to happen. So, yeah, shout out Roman Reigns. Let's give him some fucking round of applause. Because just not the same either. Like, to have this type of reign, and you got to think too, like the one belt he has, he's also had, like, if you separate the belts, because they're one belt again, but he had the Universal and the WWE title, and like the Universal or whatever he's had for 600 or like 700 days or something like that now too. So it's like a crazy. So not only is it like a dual belt thing sort of that merged together, but it's also just like it's a different world, man. To have this type of run in this era of TikTok brained morons running around society with low attention spans, because there's been people begging for Roman to lose this belt for years now. So this isn't any different. The noise is there, but I don't know, man. I think Cody could beat him like any time. He doesn't have to drop it at Mania. Roman could drop it at fucking SummerSlam or anything. So, yeah, I don't know. Shout out Roman. This is just a different era. You have to give him his flowers. It's different than when Hulk Hogan and Backlund and Bruno and these guys were fucking doing it. You know, it's just a different time. Seth Rollins has suffered a torn MCL and partially torn meniscus per Fightful Select. Praying for Seth Rollins, hope he comes back. It happened in the Jinder Mahal match. Yeah, there's marks on there going, Seth Rollins deserved this because Triple H booked this in spite of Tony and blah, blah, blah. And it's dummies. Yeah.
Dummy. Yeah.
The match was booked before, dude, you know? Like Tony Khan booked this. Not booked the hook shit, because he booked it before too, I guess, but he wasn't promoting it, you know? It's just Jinder and Seth was always the plan. So for them to say that like Seth deserved it because it was in spite of Tony and all. Those are just fucking weirdo marks. You can see the tweets online. But I'm just praying for Seth, and that might have fucked up WrestleMania plans big time, daddy. Yeah, it's really disappointing. It really, really is that happened. And the reason I bring that up, I prefaced what I wanted to bring up, a new segment. We're going to dive more into the Seth stuff, but a new segment on the show that I don't know what to even call it. We'll just call it Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Meltzer, blessing, as this is a tweet by @Vic_8122. He goes, Dave Meltzer blessing the wrestling world with some impressive insight. And this is from the Wrestling Observer this week. It goes, here's a series of Dave tweets. He goes, the Observer tweets this out, or they said this in their paper. They go, as of Friday afternoon, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk was still scheduled for WrestleMania 40. Dave Meltzer has been told that it's the current plan, but different factors could result in a change. And then he's got another one here. He goes, Roman Reigns' WrestleMania opponent is expected to be either The Rock or Cody Rhodes, or it could be a triple threat. People pay for this shit. Listen to this. This is another one. Dave Meltzer goes, quote, even with all the AEW rumors, and there is expectation in AEW that Monet will be in after finishing up some acting commitments this month, nothing is for certain. And some in WWE believe there's still a shot for her in the Royal Rumble. So he goes, even with all the AEW rumors, and there's expectation in AEW that she'll be there, nothing's for certain, and people in WWE think she'll be there at the Rumble. Just taking L's, dude. Like, that's just, I think that's all this week, right? Meltzer and the Observer just utterly, absolutely embarrassing them fucking selves. The master of talking out of both sides of his mouth and not really saying shit, people paying for it and just going, yeah, I was right. I'm never wrong because I just say every outcome, and therefore it's like, dude, either just, I don't know. We've talked about it. Be objective or give your opinions. The Wrestling Opinion newsletter. We're going to do this every week. Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. What's happening, Pro Wrestle Times listeners? It's your boy Phil Marks here, and I just wanted to take 1 second of your time to tell you about our partnership and affiliation with WWE Shop and Fanatics. That's right, folks. Pro Wrestle Times PWT is officially partnered with WWE Shop and Fanatics. Now, if you'd like to support the show, check out the link below and get your favorite WWE superstar merch, tees, caps, hoodies, and so much more with WWE Shop through Pro Wrestle Times' special affiliate link below. Use that, and it's a great way to support the podcast. It's a great way to support your favorite WWE superstar, and it's a great way to support your drip. Those CM Punk hoodies, man, come on. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and maybe your significant other is a mark like me and wants that new LA Knight tee. Yeah. Head to WWE Shop right now using PWT's special affiliate link below and get you some now. Back to the show. Raw and SmackDown happen. Basically, we had the Jinder Mahal Seth match, which we talked a little bit about before. We had the Miz and R-Truth. They took on Priest and Balor. Pretty good match. We had Gargano and Ciampa take on McDonough and Mysterio. And DIY's really fallen off. Like, no one really gives a shit, I don't think. Gunther's returned to Raw. And Cody kicks off Raw. He blows the roof off the bitch. McIntyre comes out. They square off. He might be the next big heel for Cody to face. Nakamura's still calling out Cody, so I don't know. A lot going on there in the main event picture, but Cody might win this Royal Rumble back-to-back years. I think that's kind of what they're building up to, which makes me think he will just win the title off Roman. But if he doesn't. You know, at the Elimination Chamber, The Rock and Roman are not at all scheduled to be there. They're not expecting them to be there, and they're not advertised to be there or anything. The chamber sells itself, and I've talked about this before, man. So Endeavor and the UFC, they've started an initiative to put UFC performance centers all over the world, right? They've put it in motion. And the key to that is going to all these markets first, right? Like you got to go there, do a show. And like we talked about with Wembley and All In, you go to the UK, or pardon me, you go to this in Perth, and you put an elimination chamber match there, and Punk's there with Cody and Drew. That's a good enough, bro. 45 to 60,000 people are going to turn up for that, and it's going to be crazy. And then next time they go there, it'll be this big. They'll do a big title match or something. But what they're doing is opening the doors to eventually put performance centers all over the world. I truly believe that. That's Endeavor's plan with the UFC, and they're doing that with performance institutes, and then they'll get Apexes there, then they'll do contender series there. So WWE, man, NXT Japan, NXT Australia, NXT UK again, NXT, maybe not even that, maybe just performance centers in all those places. And if they do NXT Japan and all that shit, I hope they just keep it off TV. Just keep it off TV, man. And then just have like the main NXT be the cream of the crop, and then to slowly introduce them and then get them to the main roster, right? Just keep it off. Don't even show us what's going on, you know? Raw. So we talked about the match. You know, we had Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They took on Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, got a win. I really don't care about them. What are they called? The Way? I saw a nickname for it. Fuck. There was like a different, like a she-way, or like the female version of The Way is Candice LeRae and Indy. Who cares? Whatever. Gunther sets up a match between Ludwig Kaiser and Xavier Woods, which was phenomenal. And Kaiser just beat Woods. He just like DQ'd himself, or it was a DQ, but he just, I don't know. Kaiser was showing another vicious side of himself. We had Akira Tozawa versus Ivar. Tozawa looked great. He won over Ivar. It was a whatever match, but the finish was really good. Rhea Ripley comes out, cut a promo. It wasn't her best promo ever, but then Becky comes out and she's just money on the mic, elevates it. We're going to get Becky and Rhea. Becky might win the Rumble, challenge Rhea. A lot of people are like Jade Cargill and shit, but that might be too much, you know, too quickly. They could have Jade come out and just like throw out more women ever than any other woman in history, which I think is Rhea, you know, and then that's a build up there that could come back down the line, and then Jade could have a good showing, but whatever. And then, yeah, we had Priest and Balor and R-Truth's doing this whole, like, he's in the Judgment Day thing. It's fucking funny, man. It's goofy as shit, but it's funny, but it's weird. Like, they're creating this almost like another Sami Zayn type dynamic where he's arguing about, you know, JD's like, oh, like, you're not in the Judgment Day, and Truth's like, you're not in the Judgment Day, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty funny. And then we had Tegan Nox and Natalya take on Baszler and Starks. Trash, man. Like, Nox and Natalya aren't a team. And then Stark and Baszler are just like, I don't know. Why is that a team too? Like, that's crazy to me too. I don't know. As long as Chance and Carter have those tag belts, I'm fucking happy. And then they just had them do a match on SmackDown, which we'll talk about, against Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. And it's like, no, build those witch girls up and then have them, like, those two teams should be like your two top women's tag teams, you know? Like, I don't want to see them losing to each other right now. So, see, guys, I'm being critical of WWE. Holy shit. I'm not sitting here slobbering its nuts. I'm going, holy shit. They need to work on some shit. So, the main event, Rollins legit hurt his knee. MCL, tears his MCL, tears his meniscus, could be out, could not be back before Mania, actually. He's going to address what his future on Raw tonight at the time of recording this. So, whatever. We'll figure all that out. I don't know. Will there be a cash-in? I could see Priest just cashing and grabbing the belt. I could see him vacating the belt and then just making the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight title, and then Punk wins it, and then Rollins returns at WrestleMania and has to face not only the man he hates, but this man has his world title, and then Rollins can come back and go, guess what, Punk? I'm the real world's champion. Boom. That's my Mark fantasy booking, and that's the real shit right there. That would be a great story. But either way, something good will come of this. And I'm so sorry Rollins had to get hurt, but you know what? I feel like people were coming to a point with Rollins. I know I am, where it's like, if Jinder had to beat him, I wouldn't have been mad. If Shinsuke had to beat Seth, I wouldn't have been mad. Like, if Gunther just decided, fuck it, I'm going to go after Rollins and beat him, I wouldn't be mad. Like, Rollins had his run with this belt. It's been going the same length as Rhea. Like, Rhea's having the same run. Hey, Rhea don't need to have this run. Or I mean, simultaneously, like, Rhea's having this up till WrestleMania run. Now, I don't want Rollins to be hurt by any means, but this is a great, if we're going to be optimistic here, Rollins getting hurt isn't good. I'm so, it kills me, because a lot of people say Rollins' ass. I love Rollins. He took time to win me over too. I wasn't fucking with him, but it was really his angle with Sting in WWE that got him over with me. But anyways, him losing the belt this way, if he has to vacate it, this is the best way to, like, keep him strong. He never really lost the belt, but he has to give up the belt, and the fans, and he'll just be more over when he comes back, because we'll be like, yes, because there's the old saying, like, we can't miss you if you don't go away. So this was almost like the ideal thing to happen, even though Seth is fucking hurt. Nobody probably has that take but your boy Phil Marks. But this is a win-win. This is a win here for when he comes back. It's only going to be bigger and better. And just imagine this angle. Rollins comes back and goes, Punk, I'm the real world's champion. You never beat me for that belt. Woo, at Mania. And Punk wins the chamber for the belt. Whoo. Or you pull a Tony Khan, you do a tournament where the finals take place at Mania. But that's a long stretch we're talking, but make it matter, make it count. But anyways, this match with Jinder Mahal, so it was an okay match. It was actually like a pretty good fucking match. And Indu Sheer came out, which kind of muddied it up. But it was very much like, and they had me at one point, Jinder hit him with the gut buster, which used to be his old finish, false finish, hits him with the Koloss, and then Rollins' foot touches the rope, or it was a rope or a kick out. I think it was a rope break, but either way, man, they had me a couple times, but then, yeah, Rollins ends up getting the win. Good shit, pal. Good shit, pal. Yeah. But Jinder, I don't know, man. Good for him. This match wasn't like blow you away, but it was pretty fucking good. But I think the reason it wasn't blow you away is because Rollins tore his shit apart in some point in the middle of that fucking match. He fucking blew his MCL, tore his meniscus. So he's not 100% through that whole match. Otherwise, I think it would have banged a little bit more. But either way, it was like actually still a solid match. So I definitely want to applaud both men. But if it's me again, whatever's going on with the World Heavyweight title, get Mahal in that mix again. Like, oh, well, since Seth isn't here, I should be the rightful champion or something. Get him in another match, because there's still something there. And with those Indu Sheer guys, it'll only rub off on them and help everyone out involved. So I want to move along here. So I want to kind of compare the main events, right? Because Dynamite booked the Samoa Joe match and the Hook match. That was their big world title match. And I want to talk about it, but I just want to wrap up SmackDown. So NXT was whatever. It was good. Lola Vice shined. It was a good little show. What we have here, though, on SmackDown is, we had Logan Paul. He's feuding with Kevin Owens. It's a good piece of business. You got the LWO versus the Legado World Order. Good business there. You got Pete Dunne is back. Pete Dunne is back. They got rid of the Butch name. And Tyler Bate, he's teaming with him. And that's great. Pete Dunne's back. Awesome. The Bruiserweight, that whole Ridge Holland's back in NXT, and that whole Brawling Brute shit is done with. And they took on Pretty Deadly. Yes, boy. And they did the job. God damn it. It was a great match, but I love Pretty Deadly. They should be getting pushed all the time. But yeah, we had the Kevin Owens show with Logan Paul. It was phenomenal, man. Like, Logan Paul is so goddamn believable and good on the mic. He was made to be this. Okay, I'm so sorry. Chance and Carter defeated Dawn and Fire to retain. They should not. First off, Isla Dawn is like, I think, or is it Alba Fire? One of those girls, like the ginger one, she is absolutely, I think, low-key it's her and Killer Kelly are like the two hottest in pro wrestling, I think, just attractiveness wise. But yeah, I don't know, just, you know, establishing the tag division. We had AJ Styles and LA Knight, went to a no contest. Bloodline beats the shit out of everybody. We had Orton and Solo Sikoa. Orton's RKO and everybody. A brawl breaks out. Orton's RKO and Reigns comes out. He goes to spear him. RKO. Great business, man. SmackDown's just banging. It's one of these shows where it was better than Raw, much better than Raw. You got to watch it all the time. And just the angle of like Logan Paul, they're cooking all these different things. Logan Paul is telling Kevin Owens, like, you have a cast on your arm. That's a weapon. And then you have over here, like, Solo's losing matches now, and people are going, what the fuck? Guys, it's part of the story. He was super hot. Now he's starting to catch up with him. What's going on? Roman's going to get mad at him. I'm telling y'all, like, I could see this, like, Roman losing the belt at Mania because Solo has enough of Roman, spikes him, and then Cody pins him. Boom, you know? I could see some shit like that. But yeah, they're just doing great stuff because you got Heyman and Aldis out there fucking working and squabbling, and you got just everything's firing on all cylinders, right? This AJ heel shit is kind of whatever. But yeah, man, SmackDown overall a great show. Now as far as AEW, Collision and Rampage, whatever, just tons of matches. I'm not going to talk about that shit. What I'm going to talk about, though, is AEW Dynamite was from the North Charleston Coliseum in North Charleston, South Carolina. So I think that's Flair country, right? They kicked things off with Christian Cage with Nick Wayne and Killswitch, whatever, took on Dustin Rhodes on this Dynamite. And it was a phenomenal match. Dustin Rhodes is still great. He's still making people look like $1 million fucking dollars. Christian Cage is still great. These guys had the most WWE match ever, bar a Canadian Destroyer. I don't know if Dustin's on his way out the door. Like, Tony kind of just does that, right? Like, when people are about to go, he just books them a few times, which is good. And then he just lets them go. I've been saying for a while, I'm pretty sure Goldust is going to be inducted into this year's Hall of Fame if everything goes according to plan. And I think Bischoff and Conrad Thompson have kind of also alluded to that, and I believe The Undertaker's also alluded to that on everyone's respective podcasts. I've alluded to it on mine. I think there's a reason for that. We'll just leave it at that. And so, anyways, though, Dustin's been doing great work. He makes people look like $1 million. Christian Cage beats him. 2 WWE legends. There you go. So that was a great piece of business. And then Swerve's backstage. He cuts a good promo. And then Chris Jericho's backstage. They piped in cheers, pardon me. They're piping in cheers during his segments. I don't know. That whole thing's a mess. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm not going to talk about it. And they're calling him the Ocho again and stuff. So what? Are they just going to put him in Ring of Honor so he's not on fucking TV or what? Like, what's going on? Like, that would be smart. That'd be smart if I'm them, but I don't know, man. That whole thing, I just don't want to even talk about it more. We had an international champion, Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. They had a tag match with Commander and garbage. Hangman Adam Page backstage, garbage. Mark Briscoe, he honors Jay Briscoe. Shout out Jay Briscoe. Cuts a great promo. Very emotional. The Briscoe girls are there. They said the one couldn't walk. She's on the stage walking. Yeah. Shout them out, man. Beautiful. So that was a great piece of business as well. So we started the show with a great piece of business with Edge and Dustin. We had a great piece of business with the Mark Briscoe segment. Then we had the sit down with the Young Bucks. Who gives? So they start ripping a promo on CM Punk. It's just like, man, so what was they're cutting the same promos. They're the same characters. They're doing another sit down. Remember when they had a sit down the last time they had to do their thing? Why don't they just not talk and just be dicks and go, I'm not sitting down with you. I'm the boss or whatever. But they're talking about bringing in ex superstars and all the things. You guys taking shots and being mad about the ex superstars is why you're in this mess in the first place, Young Bucks. It's why you're in this mess in the first place. Fucking ridiculous. So makes me smoke. Then we had an ROH World 6-Man Championship match. The Mogul Embassy took on Bullet Club Gold and they just won the titles. Okay. And then now matches like whatever. It's a solid match, but who cares? There's all this shit going on. And then so now Jay White's Ring of Honor, and then they fuse with the 6-man tags of AEW. So there's 6-man ROH tag champs and the 6-man AEW tag champs, instead of operating their divisions and building out their division, let's unify and make a 6-man team and do what, a 12-man tag against some guys for not our belts that we just won. What the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. These guys are you have 3 monsters in the Mogul Embassy and they're just glorified jobbers. It's just bullshit, man. This is just awful fucking booking. And then there's no division building. You got Ring of Honor, Jay White's in Ring of Honor. This is garbage. Trash. So then the Undisputed Kingdoms, Adam Cole and Wardlow are backstage. Cole's going, Wardlow hasn't even scratched the surface of what he could do. He's going to win the AEW championship and all this shit. Wardlow didn't need any of you guys to do that. He understood he could do this on his own when he squashed MJF and did his own thing. That was the whole point of that story. So you just undermine that whole thing you did with MJF, which was good business back then, where he got squashed by fucking Wardlow. They don't get it. They just step on their own dicks. Then you have Purrazzo versus Anna Jay, and I had people in the comments going, look, Mercedes is going to walk out after the Purrazzo match. She's going to just walk out, debut. It's good. Every week, watch, she's going to debut. Everyone's saying it. No. Purrazzo wins her match against Anna Jay, even though Anna Jay cut a promo going, this year, it's going to be my year. Like, I've said this a few times, but I need to start this year off right. She's doing jobs for the new deal. Show's awful. It's an awful television show. It's an awful pro wrestling program. Matches are great. They're great. Awful program. So then we had Dante Martin. We had Top Flight versus Private Party. Whatever. Good match. Lots of flips. Private Party's back. Sting and Darby Allin in a video package. Good for them. Shout out Sting. He's going to be done soon. I truly believe he's going to go back to WWE after this AEW run and do one last match in WWE. I truly believe that. I think Ric Flair goes back there too, to be with his daughter, and Andrade, he'll go when Sting goes. That's my prediction. Main event time though. Another great piece of business. Now, people are going to say, but Phil, he did a 1 count in the Muscle Buster. True. That was ass. That was completely unfounded, and Hook does need to work on his selling. What worked here though was that Samoa Joe just went out there and beat the fucking fuck out of Hook for 13 minutes. He just beat the ever-loving Christ out of Hook for 13 minutes. And that's what you do. That's how... Now, the kicking out of the one and doing the Hulk up spot, man, that was really bad. I'm not going to sit here and act like that was good or that got anybody over more. All it did was bury Joe's move a little bit, to be honest. Not even a little bit, like a lot. And especially that's because that's one of the best and most devastating maneuvers in pro wrestling, if you will. But I think I tweeted something. I just said, I should have bookmarked it, but basically I said at Pro Wrestle Times on X, guys, check us out there. But I said, like a match with a storyline. I think because the ratings came out. Sorry, I'm just flipping through X here trying to find it. No, I can't find it, guys. Sorry. But basically, I just tweeted out a storyline with something compelling is greater than a match with a false finishes and a Hulk up spot or something. I said it just does more to get someone over, basically. But yeah, so Joe just murdered Hook, and I thought this was a great piece of business. I honestly did, because he just crushed him. Hook sold his ass off, even though he could have sold more, especially after that muscle. They should have just ended with the Muscle Buster. That's what's crazy. But yeah, he kicks out at 1, starts doing some shit, and then gets choked out. I'm talking Hook got 3 moves in the whole match. And I'm talking Joe killed this kid. He suplexed him onto the fucking announce table, and kid landed neck first and everything. And I don't usually pop for that, but it was... they were safe about it, but it looked devastating, Joe knows what he's doing in there, and he's just way bigger than him. So he just tossed him around. And yeah, I don't know, dude. I do feel like Hook was elevated from this match. It made me go, shit, dude. I want to see him come back and fight a motherfucker, differing opinions from other people. I know a lot of people might be like, nah, that was shit. Tell me in the comment. I don't care, right? If we have different opinions on that, that is what it is. But I feel like it just made Joe look the way Joe should look other than his one move. Like, yes, his one move should not have been kicked out of, especially because, damn, he's finished so many people with it in AEW, and in WWE, all over the world, he's finished people with it. But yeah, just comparing the two title matches, I would give it, me personally, I think the Joe Hook match was more, it was just better. I think the story of it, because, like, dude, Rollins, like, he doesn't sell shit. He kicks out of everything. It's every Rollins match is the exact same, you know? I've called it out before on the show. Now, when he's in there with certain guys, like, I don't know, when he's in there with Nakamura, even that match with Jinder, I thought Jinder legit was going to pull it out, so that's what keeps it compelling. Like, the story and is what in WWE what keeps it compelling. Like, I think right now in WWE, it's a good time to get that, like I said earlier, that world heavyweight title. Unfortunately, Rollins had to get injured for it to move hands, and I think right now it's important for Joe to keep that belt, which is why it's dumb that they already are teasing like a triple threat so that Joe can like pin Hangman or something, or maybe they'll swerve everyone and Swerve will pin Hangman a third time to get the world title, and then it'll be a Joe Swerve program. That could work, but it's yucky for Joe to have to be in a triple threat, and we knew Hook was going to lose. He didn't stand a chance, but that's why the booking of this match was good. So definitely shout out Samoa Joe for that. He did great, and both companies did great there for that. Honest to God, let's give both companies a round of applause. Because, like, WWE shows this week were like, it was more or less WWE this week was like pretty good, and then some really great shit was in there, and then AEW was like some really bad shit, and then just like some really great shit. It's great. So yeah, shout them out. TNA is back, and I'm an idiot and didn't pull the results up, but I want to talk about their show. And I told you guys, I'd start comparing TNA to AEW, and I'm going to, but I just wanted to this week. I fucked it up. I know. I just wanted to give, because there was the whole world title match. I knew coming into this week, I was like, I'm going to catch heat with the listeners, because I told them I'm going to start comparing TNA and AEW, and I'm going to, I promise. But just the world title Jinder Hook feud thing, I had to compare those two. Tony, I guess, was smart, right? He talked the right shit. And then TNA, I'm going to give them their own shine and just applaud them for what they're doing. And then we'll start, like, next week, I'll probably compare TNA to AEW side by side, and then just give WWE their shine for now. So, dude, I'm looking at spoilers. I accidentally just spoiled what happened on the 20th to myself. Great. Good job, pal. Good job. Impact Wrestling results. I should have pulled I have them right here. So, Jake something. So it kicks off with an I was going to call it cruiserweight, an X Division match. Kushida, Trey Miguel, Laredo Kid, Mike Bailey, El Hijo del Vikingo. And then Jake something was in this match for some reason. Now, he's awesome, but he's a big burly dude. And I guess X Division doesn't mean cruiserweight. Like, I don't know. If I was them, maybe I'd establish a weight limit or something, but maybe that's not the point of the X Division. But dude, this match, when I see 6 guys come out, I was like, this is not going to be good. This is going to be very AEW-y. This match was way better than it had any right to be. And Jake something won. He pinned Kushida. He's awesome. And this match was great. And Vikingo, I don't know. Whoever put this match together, agented it, they had him in the right spots, not just standing there waiting for shit. So, yeah, we got a video from Ash by Elegance. I don't know. She's in AEW or TNA now, is part of me. Giselle Shaw cuts a promo. We have Xia Brookside. She defeats Tasha Steelz, which is crazy, because Steelz is like getting that push, and Xia Brookside just beats her. So, and then we get AJ Francis, who I tweeted out. I think I said it on the last show. Yo, AJ, you need to call your choke slam the broke slam. And he liked 2 separate tweets of me insinuating that. So hopefully he does. He did good business there. At Hard to Kill, the Grizzled Young Vets took on Kazarian and Eric Young, beats them. Kazarian turns heel on Eric Young. So hopefully Kazarian does, like when he was the Elite Hunter, he should be like the TNA legend killer. And he is a legend, but he should do that for real. PCO comes out, beats Jay Vidal. Jay Vidal selling his ass off. Shout out Jay Vidal, man. Selling his fucking ass off for PCO. Josh Alexander takes on Will Ospreay in one of the best television wrestling matches you could fucking see ever, with commercials where you're hooked, even though there's no picture-in-picture, and just a tremendous fucking match. Josh Alexander gets the win. Scott D'Amore, I think they're 1-1 now, so we'll have to get a trilogy. And I think, though, Ospreay's got like one more match in TNA, then he's starting in February. He's starting in AEW. So then Scott D'Amore comes out and he just cuts the most. Oh, and then we forgot about Nick Nemeth. Well, we'll just talk about that at the end here. So Scott D'Amore comes out. He just cuts the most incredible fucking promo. He's like, I saw Bruce Pritchard declare that TNA was dead years ago, and it was guys like this who resurrected it, who dug their fucking hands. Like he dropped an F-bomb. Put their fucking hands in the mud and grab the heart and beat it till the blood was pumping through its fucking veins. He just snapped, bro, and the crowd went nuts. TNA chanting. He was like in tears. Bro, TNA's back. TNA's back wholeheartedly. And then Nick Nemeth came out and he cut a great promo, and Macklin came out, and it seems like he's like, I picked my spot. And Moose cut a promo too, where he's like, I ain't even worrying about that shit. Like Nick Nemeth, whatever, like we're the system. He's going to have to work his way through the system to get to me, you know? So he's just like, I don't give a fuck about none of that, you know? Like we're doing our thing, right? With his faction there. And then you have, but yeah, Nick Nemeth gets interrupted by Macklin, and Macklin's like, look, buddy, I was at that other place too, and I was even below you, but I came here and I was the world champion. So don't come in my ring and da-da-da-da. And fucking Ziggler or he calls him out. He's like, yeah, everyone will only remember Dolph Ziggler. You know, ain't nobody going to remember Nick Nemeth. So then Nemeth, whatever, hits him with the zigzag or the knick-knack or whatever we're calling it now. I think I called it the knick-knack on the last show. He hits him with it. Boom. It's going to be Macklin Ziggler. Or Nemeth, pardon me. That's a great match, especially just to start it out, you know, in a money match, if you will, for Macklin. And I don't know, man, great shit. I think that's on the taping that I just spoiled some of for myself. But yeah, so shout out TNA, man. We're going to give them because they're crushing, and I implore everybody to go watch TNA. They're definitely doing sports entertainment the right way, I must say. I think the show is rearing its end. I wanted to do one last thing, or sort of two last things. The Rumble's coming up this weekend, so I should give my predictions, right? So far, I'm going to pull up the match card. Royal Rumble 2024 match card. Now, I also want to give my WrestleMania predictions, because the road to WrestleMania starts with the Royal Rumble, and so if I'm trying to give my predictions, then I need to tell you who I think is going to win the Rumble and why, and blah, 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 blah. The Royal Rumble predictions. So, well, let's take it a step back. The Elimination Chamber, right? The Rock and Roman are both not on it. I predict that the Elimination Chamber will be for the World Heavyweight title match. Here, well, let's hit an X-Files. We got to hit an X-Files because we're going to fantasy mark book. We're going to fantasy mark book to close out the show, because I just wrote some rough ideas here. So I think the World Heavyweight title should be decided at the Elimination Chamber. And then I think you have Rollins just challenge Punk for the belt, and Punk wins it, and then Rollins calls himself the real world champion. All my fantasy mark booking. I think that'd be brilliant. The Rumble, who wins the Rumble? I think the smart thing is you just have Cody win the goddamn Royal Rumble. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say The Rock is going to win the fucking Royal Rumble. It's going to make a lot of people mad. They're going to turn on him, boo him. Batista style, Blue Tista style, maybe not. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, because I've fantasy mark booked some matches for WrestleMania just off the top of my head, sitting on the shitter, driving, do whatever I was doing when I wrote these down just when they popped in my head. And it's things I've said on the show before, but yeah, I think Elimination Chamber, you just have Punk win the belt, and then Cody should win the Rumble, but I think it's The Rock's going to win the Rumble, and then you have The Rock and Roman at Mania. So my WrestleMania, you guys can decide what your night 1 and night 2 would be. I didn't break them up into nights, although we could here together, but I'll just read you my card. My card so far for what I think would make sense for WrestleMania 40 is you have Roman Reigns versus The Rock for the WWE title. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. That's what you do with Rhodes. You put him in there against Orton. Cody has had like Nakamura attack him and Drew respect him but attack him. And then he had Brock attack him out of nowhere. But what he's never had is, and like, I don't know how you get there because they're on different shows, but what he's never had was like, Orton was his mentor. Orton's his friend, right? You have Orton turn his back on Cody, maybe flip him heel right before Mania, or you keep Orton babyface. I don't know, but that would be, if I had to pick someone, it would be Rhodes versus Orton. If Cody Rhodes is getting left out of the Universal title picture, it's got to be that. So then you have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. You book Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in a fight pit with Ken Shamrock as your special referee, because he'll be getting inducted in the Hall of Fame this year, I'm more than likely. You have Gunther versus Okada, and the reason why too is because Brock and Lashley, 2 MMA guys, legit guys. I think Lashley only ever lost twice. His record was like 15-2. The fight pit has been done a few times, and it's an over concept. It works, man. People like it. They've had special refs in them before. They had Daniel Cormier ref the one. They had Kurt Angle ref the one in NXT. Ken Shamrock was in the Lions Pit match against Owen Hart, and they fought in the dungeon, right? They had a best of 3 series type shit, and they fought in the Hart family dungeon, and they fought in the Lions Pit, which is basically the fight pit. It's literally the same thing. So Ken Shamrock, special refs this one. I think that's brilliant booking right there. And then you get Gunther versus Okada. Gunther goes, I studied everyone on this roster. There's no man on this roster who could defeat me. I proved time and time again. And now I'm here, biggest stage. Challenge me. I demand someone challenge me on this. Okada comes out. Beats him. Holy shit. No one sees that shit coming. What the fuck? Imperium's beating him up. Nakamura comes out, who started Chaos with Okada back in the day. Nakamura comes out, helps Okada. They're fighting against the fucking Imperium until Gunther can pick a spot for his rematch. Maybe he beats Okada in the rematch. And then Okada and Nakamura feud or something. You got it all right there. I think Okada just comes out, beats Gunther, man. It sounds crazy, but trust me. Warrior came back and did that shit. That's how, I don't know. That's how you do it. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. That one's pretty obvious. That's just like your biggest money matchup you can do in pro wrestling. Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. That's clearly what's going to happen. Jimmy's really got to turn his shit around, or it could be Jey versus Solo. And I'm honestly willing to say that, because especially if you get The Rock involved versus Roman, you're going to need Jey or one of these fucking guys to get The Rock's back. It would only be natural, right? Big prediction here. Mercedes Moné, Bayley, and Trinity versus Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka, with Dakota Kai in their corner. That's my big prediction, because Mercedes was tag partners with Bayley and Trinity, reigning tag champs with both. Then you have Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. Asuka and Sane are clearly going to get those women's tag belts. It was teased on SmackDown here, and Io Sky has that women's belt. So you come in, you do the 3-way at Mania. I think that's the fucking move, man. May you even do some weird shit where all the belts are on the line or something. You could get away with it, you know, a WrestleMania super whatever. And then you have Mercedes, Trinity, and Bayley all standing in the ring, fucking holding their belts up. I'm just going out a prediction on a prediction, wild prediction, and saying that one. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Just a prediction. I don't know. Austin Theory's talk shit about Stone Cold. So is Grayson Waller. And then you have Kevin Owens, who fought Austin. Then they have respect for each other. Owens does the stunner. So after that match, they have respect for each other, let's say. Austin doesn't have to bump around and do all this crazy shit. Theory and Waller are good enough, provided they're not doing Spanish flies and shit. Austin can work with these kids. Owens has a mystery tag partner. Stone Cold comes out, just beats the fuck out of Theory. He already doesn't like Theory. Stunnered his ass. He already, it just makes sense to me. So I'm going out on a limb and saying that one. I think we'll get Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. I think that will be a WrestleMania match where the Judgment Day, where you got Dominic and JD flopping around trying to fight, or maybe it's like a Priest and Bad Bunny versus Balor and Dominic with fucking JD bumping around or whatever. I could see something like Priest going, yeah, I called an old friend. I could see him being just out of Judgment Day by WrestleMania. Solo Sikoa needs a big match, a legend to kill, if you will. I wrote Solo Sikoa versus Undertaker. Wrestling Solo is just about like eating strikes. They could have a pretty solid match. Why would that match? It doesn't make sense. I'm just being a mark and saying that that's a match that could happen and Solo beats The Undertaker. I don't know. I'm just throwing at it. Maybe not. Maybe that's dumb. The rumors are Undertaker's coming back for one more match. Or John Cena versus Solo Sikoa rematch where Cena gets his win back, even though that would be kind of dirty. And then I have LA Knight versus Logan Paul. Why that one? I don't know. I just see LA Knight getting his hands on like a US title at Mania. I think he'll have a Mania moment for like I think at whoever has the US title, I think we'll see LA Knight hoisting up the US title at WrestleMania. That's my prediction. And those are my predictions for the road to WrestleMania leading up, guys.
Oh yeah!
Because it's near, and I'm so hyped for this Royal Rumble, man. I can't tell you guys how hyped I am for this Royal Rumble. I'll post some polls up on all of the social medias asking you guys what you think and who you think's going to win the Royal Rumble, etc. To go over the card, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Fuck the card. I think that I gave my predictions, and yeah, I think my predictions are out there, a little wild. But I'm just talking like the biggest WrestleMania of all time. That's where my brain's going, because that's what UFC's doing with UFC 300, and that's what WWE's doing with WrestleMania 40, which take place in the same fucking week. And Endeavor's a part of both those shows. And if you guys aren't MMA marks, like trust me, go look up that like UFC 300's like top to bottom one of the craziest all-time cards. So, and apparently he has one more fight that's going to come out of left field too. He hasn't announced, so. They're doing the same thing with WrestleMania. I think we're going to see like a bunch of shit. Like this WrestleMania might be the real last time we see like all like Stone Cold, Taker, Cena, all these guys, even if they're just in attendance. But I think the Hall of Fame will be crazy. We're going to get like Lex Luger and names that we have been like, they should be in there. I think they're really going to do, Triple H is going to go all balls to the wall, because this is his first Mania that Triple H is booking himself. You know what I mean? Like it's him in charge of this Mania, him and Nick Khan. So it's going to be phenomenal. And the road to it starts at the Royal Rumble this weekend. I cannot wait. My liver's quivering at all the tequila and beer I'm going to be drinking, cervezas daddy, that I'm going to be consuming for that. Guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with your boy Phil Marks again. Pro Wrestle Times. We'll get polls up. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what matches you think are going to happen in the comments below. At Pro Wrestle Times on YouTube, everywhere on social media. At Pro Wrestle Clips on YouTube. That's the main channel. We're blowing up. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers, man. Like, I can't believe it. I love you guys so fucking much. Our YouTube members, you guys will start getting early access to videos, okay? I promise. We only have one. But you matter so much to me, bruv. Jason Coward, shout out Jason Coward. You get a yeah. And I hope more people join the YouTube. Yeah. And yeah, you're gonna get some early access to shit, just like our patrons: Reggie Rodriguez, Mark Q the Mark, Ashley V, Russ Paxson, Chris Killis, Cruz Madrid, and Desirac Uchia. I'm gonna give you a yeah. All you motherfuckers, yeah. Oh, that's the wrong shit. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I didn't even know I had that there. And yeah, guys, so make sure you join the Discord if you want to talk about pro wrestling. I've been in there more and more this weekend. Like I said, it was like another holiday, a second Christmas weekend with some fam jams. So I wasn't up in there, but I will be this week. And patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes. If you want to support the channel, just look below. There's a myriad of ways. Check out the Clips channel. Check out the main podcast channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit 5 stars. Hit the like. That's the best way to support. I love you all so much. It's your boy, Phil Marks. Top Pod is out. The top listeners are out. Yeah. See you on the road to WrestleMania.